Holy smokes, guys, the news are no joke lately. According to many news outlets, Gilead, ticker symbol GILD, showed promising treatment for the Roni disease. So, should this news excite you to invest in a company that shows a promising treatment for whatever bug is going on outside at this point, or should you be a little bit more skeptical and read more through the articles to determine if this kind of treatment or this kind of cure is actually something that needs to be considered, at least at this point? We're going to go over a couple of things and I'll let you decide. It's your choice, you do whatever you want to with this information, but hopefully it's going to give you a new set of eyes to look at the information that's served to you through the headlines. I'm going to be paraphrasing a lot from the news that I've been reading up till this point about this promising treatment, because I want to convey you that even they, when they write, they are posing some of their skepticism in the wording that they are using. So maybe you can see for yourself, or maybe you disagree with what I say, which is nice and fun, and we can have a conversation about it. But after going through all this information, this is my perspective, and by the end you should make your own and know if you should decide further to invest in something like this or wait a little bit to see how things progress. So late Thursday, the healthcare media site State reported that nearly all 125 Roni patients in a late-stage clinical study at the University of Chicago treated with Gilead's remdesivir had been discharged after a week of treatment. So yeah, indeed, when you read a couple of these articles like this one, which pretty much says that this remdesivir actually kind of works in a lot of patients, you become very optimistic and you might be interested to look into the stock to invest in a company that's probably going to develop some kind of cure. But here's one big fat catch that's not being said in this article and that you need to dig a little to uncover. When they tested those patients, there was no control group. So basically they did not test for placebo. If there's one thing on earth that's more powerful than a dozen drugs out there, is placebo, which is basically your own internal ability to alter your own chemistry in order to produce the compounds needed in order to help you cure yourself of many things, viruses, of many bugs, of many diseases that you might encounter throughout your life. Basically, you have the ability to produce many of the compounds that are given to you through external drug use by altering your internal chemistry. Did you know that the placebo cure rate is more than 70%? 70 freaking percent. So basically placebo acts in the following way. In the control group, they give the placebo patients like a sugar pill and they tell them that they were given the treatment or the cure or some magic pill that's gonna cure their disease. And in 70% of the cases, that sugar pill is going to produce the desired effects of the drug, because the person that's taking the sugar pill alters its internal chemistry just by believing that they took the cure or the medication or the treatment or the drug or whatever that's going to help them cure themselves. And if we roll back to the news of the Gilead and remdesivir, we'll find a couple of pointers to see if there was some control group or not. And I've already mentioned that there was not, but I just wanted to show you that in their own wording, there was no control group. And they even state that this should not be considered something very optimistic just because there was no control group and it was probably placebo acting in this situation more than the drug that they were giving the patients. If you dig a little bit more about information, you will find that the trial for the most seriously ill patients does not include a control group which is given a placebo. So Dr. Millane said it was hard to draw too many conclusions, but she said that after starting the drug, many patients saw their fevers reduce quickly, some came off ventilators the next day, and most did not need the full course of 10 days. They're talking about the full 10-day course because this remdesivir needs to be administered intravenously. Anyway, just as I've said, you can see that there was no placebo-controlled group. So at this point, this shouldn't be any kind of new excitement because placebo is very powerful. And because there was no placebo-controlled group, much of the conclusions that are being drawn by the headlines and by the media are pretty much just an overhype of the situation. There was also a study funded by Gilead about compassionate use of remdesivir for patients with severe Roni. And the conclusion of the study is the following. In this cohort of patients hospitalized for severe Roni who were treated with compassionate use remdesivir, clinical improvement was observed in 36 out of 53 patients, basically 68%. Measurement of efficacy will require ongoing randomized placebo-controlled trials of remdesivir therapy. So they say themselves that the measurement of efficacy will require ongoing randomized placebo-controlled trials of remdesivir therapy. Basically, they cannot tell if it's placebo working or if it's the actual drug working. And considering how powerful placebo is, like I've just said, more than 70% it's placebo, the fact that they got a 68% success rate does not tell me that much because most of it could be placebo. Anyway, you can draw your own conclusions, but I am very skeptical of all this hype that's created by media and by the headlines. So in conclusion, if it would be my choice, I would not invest in Gilead. Even though they are doing those tests, they are continuing with the control group testing in the future. At this point, it's still just pure speculation because the control group could actually show that it was not the remdesivir that was working, but it was the people's minds that was doing the job. And when I'm talking about investing, I'm talking about investing in this company for the long run. If you want to trade this company during this hype to lock in some profits, feel free. If you have the technical knowledge to do it, by all means, you do you. But in my case, I would not touch this because this is just hype. At this point, this is just pure hype. As a little analysis thrown into this video, if you look at their balance sheet, it's not the worst in the world. They have about 22 billion of long-term debt and about 24 billion of cash and cash equivalents. But one thing that's a little bit alarming is that their net income has dropped substantially by about 2/3 since 2016. Anyway, what I wanted to point out is that most of the news around the treatment are pure headline hype and media hype. And in my opinion, this is pure speculation on investing in a company that might have found the treatment. Again, this is my own personal opinion. This is not financial advice. This is not legal advice, and it's for entertainment purposes only. You draw your own conclusions from everything that I've just pointed out. You can do more research into the company. Maybe you find something different. Maybe you disagree with what I've just said. Whatever it is, feel free to let me know in the comments down below if you feel like it. But I'll leave you with this. Don't buy the hype and buy the fundamentals. Alright guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and it was helpful for you. Feel free to demolish the living hells out of the like button if you enjoyed this video, if it gave you a little bit of a new perspective on this hype, at least in my opinion, that's going on. Smash the subscribe button if you feel like it, and until next time my friends, you've been awesome, I've been Alex, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, have a wonderful day. Peace!